everyone. John Gonzalez here from MLive.com, and you are listening to The Going Gonzo Show, which you can hear exclusively on MLive.com and our Facebook page, Facebook.com. Search for Going Gonzo Show. All right, now let's get to the show. Hey everyone, John Gonzalez. It is Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? No, Tuesday. I can't even keep track of the days. How about you? Tuesday, February 18th, getting ready for a lot of things. The weather continues to be a big story. It's going to be warming up, I think, almost 50 degrees tomorrow, which is crazy Michigan winter. And then, of course, next week it's going to be back to 10 below zero probably. Who knows what. But we got a busy day here on the Going Gonzo Show. Judy's with us, our producer. How you doing, Judy?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Just trying to get I had rushed down to the studio because I had to dig myself out of my own driveway twice to get out and get downtown.
I know, that's ridiculous. I've seen so many people stuck, just going back and forth in their car trying to get themselves out. Yeah. So it's ridiculous.
I did that in the parking ramp even, just when I pulled in here. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. But, of course, I don't need to tell the listeners out there, it's pretty much the whole country is dealing with snow and weather issues. It's been one of those extreme winters, which I just can't remember. This is probably the worst you've ever remembered it. You're pretty young.
Yeah, I think this might be just the worst living on my own type. I think when I was younger, there was one winter where I just remember there was just a lot of snow.
Yeah.
But I think it only was for a certain period of time, a short period of time. But now I feel like it's just this winter has just it's never ending.
It doesn't seem like it.
I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel yet.
No, and I know we're supposed to be playing baseball here in a few months. The Tigers are already down in spring training. I know the college kids play in March. The high school kids in early April. I don't know if we're going to play baseball in March at all in Michigan. So yeah. We'll see what happens. Hey, we got a busy show today. Scott Graham from the Michigan Brewers Guild will be calling in here in a few seconds, and they have a big weekend. The Winter Beer Festival is Saturday, February 22nd, out at Fifth Third Ballpark, and they've got some issues. They had the fire earlier this year. There's been all the snow. They're not sure where people are going to park at. But it is the biggest festival they've ever had for the Brewers Guild, and we will talk to Scott here in just a few minutes. Got to catch up with Judy here on her training and your running. I know that you didn't do the marathon. Well, you kind of tried to do the Groundhog Day marathon. We've talked to listeners about that. But you're training for a different marathon in April, right?
Yes, April 25th, I believe. It's in Rockford. Okay. I think it's like Hurt to Dirt or Dirt to Hurt. Something, but it's a trail run, so I'm excited for it. I haven't really started my long miles again. I'm kind of just going slow. Yeah, taking a little time off. Still running a lot, but just at low mileage.
Right. So you'll probably about a month out or 4 weeks out.
Yeah,
get back to your long runs.
I think starting like mid-March, I'm gonna go heavy again.
Good.
Yeah.
Good for you. I'm going to be doing my 14 5Ks, one down.
You look skinny.
Stop it. I've been working out a lot and feel good, feel great, and the best I have in a long time. And I've got to run March 1st where I'm going to eat donuts, the Punchki Run in Hamtramck, and then on March 16th I'll be in Bay City for the St. Patrick's Day race. 2 more 5Ks coming up here. And you know what? I feel so good. If everything keeps going according to plan, knock on wood, I wouldn't mind. Is there a half marathon with your dirt portion?
I think so. I think there is, yeah. You should.
I don't know if could I be ready in time? That's
if you're already at 6 miles, I think you could possibly do it.
Yeah, I was telling you off the air that I did a 6-mile run on Saturday in about an hour.
I think you could do it. It's a good 2 months out. You could easily get a half.
I'm going to kind of start to work at it. So I'm going to increase my miles every Saturday by 2 miles.
That's perfect.
Just to see.
Yep.
So next Saturday, or this Saturday coming up.
Even if you do it by 1 mile each.
I'm going to try to do I'm going to try to do 8 before I go to the beer festival.
Okay.
I'm going to try to do 8 miles to get to the beer festival. I'll be all wobbly if you see me there.
Oh, goodness.
We'll try to do that. So, all right, let's take a quick little break here. And Scott Graham from the Michigan Brewers Guild here on the Going Gonzo Show in just a few seconds.
Let's drink Michigan beer, coast to coast and far and near. It's local and delicious, any style that you wish. Raise your glass and toast your friends. Let's drink Michigan beer.
Scott Graham, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me, Gonzo.
Oh, no problem. It's always good to talk to you. In fact, we got to hang out a little bit not too long ago up at Treetops.
Yeah, it was great seeing you in Gaylord.
Yeah, I love being up there, and of course, they know how to have a good time up there. You guys are hardy folks in Gaylord.
Well, we've had to be this year to survive the cold weather and deep snow, not unlike Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo and the whole state, I guess.
Yeah, the whole state's just been bombarded by snow, but I know Gaylord had over 139 inches. You guys are probably going to be close to a record this year.
Close to it, yeah, and it's certainly been cold.
It has been cold, and it's been a heck of a winter and a heck of a year for the Michigan Brewers Guild. Big event coming up. I was talking to Amy Sherman from the American Brew Trail, and she was saying that this week the Michigan Winter Beer Festival at Fifth Third Ballpark is kind of like the Super Bowl and Christmas all rolled up in one.
Well, it is to me, and it was. I saw a little message out on the kind of social network when it was shortly after the Olympics opened up, and somebody was saying that they were thinking that the opening ceremony was just like going to the Winter Beer Festival. So I thought that was a nice comparison.
It's funny. The Michigan beer culture, Michigan craft beer, just continues to get bigger and bigger every year. And your association, it's a nonprofit group, the Michigan Brewers Guild. It's a support system. You put on 4 different festivals throughout the year. This is, no question, though, the Michigan Winter Beer Festival, Fifth Third Ballpark, Comstock Park, is the granddaddy, the big one of the year, and everyone wants to go.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And how do you explain it to those in your circles that just kind of go, really? It sells out that quickly, you know?
Yeah, well, it's actually a little bit perplexing for us. We're kind of humbled by the fact that the tickets do sell so quickly, but it's really our goal and our mission to keep exposing more and more people to craft beer. So we hate limiting it, but we feel like it's necessary. And it's just one of those things. It's so popular. It's like a great rock concert, or I guess you kind of name the event, and there just aren't enough tickets to go around without us having too crazy of a party, I guess. But I think that certainly the West Michigan culture of beer is very supportive. The festival's always been great there, and I think we get great support from everybody, from media folks like you to the folks that experience Grand Rapids, and really it extends to all the communities around there. So there's a tremendous amount of support. But I think that people in general don't have as busy a schedule in the winter, and maybe they're looking for things to do to get them outside in February. So that I think compounds it a little bit.
You know, Scott, and you're probably right. There is that heightened interest and demand, but we could talk about the quick sellouts. We could talk about how popular Michigan craft beer is, but what really interests me, I guess, the conversation that I want to kind of follow here is the interest and the growth of Michigan craft beer outside of the state. I was visiting South Carolina this summer, and just tons of Michigan beer, at the local store, people asking about it. It's also kind of increased interest in our state tourism, people coming here and wanting to discover all the breweries. We're kind of spoiled here.
I think that's right, and it's easy to not have perspective on that if you're like most of everybody in Michigan that just enjoys it. You don't necessarily know until you leave how people from other states look at the beer culture in Michigan and the quality of the beer in the breweries. And we are a little spoiled, and certainly as some of our breweries here have grown, they've expanded outside of Michigan, and they're finding other markets, and it's great that consumers outside of Michigan can have fun drinking Michigan too.
How does the Guild handle that, though? I mean, are you specifically in charge of just making sure we're taken care of here in Michigan, or do you help promote outside of the state?
Well, we do help promote outside of the state. Most of what we do is here local to us. We do a number of different things in trying to encourage outstate consumption, I guess. One of the things we do every year is have a presence with a booth at the Great American Beer Festival. Mm-hmm. So I think that probably helps create a little bit of awareness, or at least excitement. And then our publication gets we ship that out to anybody that requests it from outside of the state, and our media outreach gets out there some, but most of what we do is probably centered and focused on Michigan.
Well, I know that you guys, put on 4 events throughout the year, but it seems like every weekend, it's my job is to see what's happening throughout the state. It's like every weekend there's a festival or an event or a tasting or a pairing or, a beer dinner. It seems like every weekend you can find an event near your community.
Yeah, it's fun, and we're seeing more traditional events try and find ways to incorporate local beer in their beer tent or their beverage selection if they have beer, wine, or spirits, things like that. But yes, I think that there's a lot more interest in. It's probably a little harder to pay attention to, but I think it's really good that that craft beer is getting beyond just the connoisseur or those in the know, and it's becoming more mainstream, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. We want more people to be aware of it and to be knowledgeable and buying beer, tasting beer, sharing it with their friends. That's good for the whole industry, and we're looking for many years of growth in the future because I think that we're still just we're scratching a little deeper in the surface, but there's a long way to go. There's still a lot of people that haven't discovered it, and I think those local events, having some local beers makes a ton of sense. I think it's fun for the consumers, and it's great for those making beer to get more exposure.
We're talking to Scott Graham, the director of the Michigan Brewers Guild, here on the Going Gonzo show. And Scott, I don't know if we talked about this when we were up at the festival in Gaylord there a couple weeks ago, but one thing that I've always been amazed at is how the brewers and the different people in the industry, it's competitive. They all want to make great beer. They all want to be better than each other. That's why they have the different awards and the festivals and gold medals and everything. But there's also sincere, or genuine interest, it seems to me, that they want to see each other succeed because they want to have the consumers have good experiences at all the breweries.
Yeah, that's very true, and it's I don't know if it's unique to the brewing industry, but it's certainly different than most in that we're a very sharing community. I think we root each other on and enjoy each other's successes, and it's very common for brewers to talk about what they're doing, how they're making their beer, how things they learn. It's a very kind of open and sharing and fraternal type group, and it's been that way historically as well. I think that's kind of culturally part of the industry.
No, well, you started.
It's a nice thing.
It is a nice thing, and you started as a brewer yourself. Are you brewing these beer anymore?
No, not really. I talk about making beer. I don't get my hands in it too much, but years ago I had the opportunity to spend some time when I was at brewing school with people from major brewers from around the world, and I noticed the same thing. They were open and sharing and really willing to kind of mentor and nurture a young brewer. Now, that doesn't usually translate into the sales departments of large breweries, but on the production end of things, I think people are pretty open and sharing.
He's got one last thing for people coming out this weekend to the event out at Fifth Third Ballpark. What do you think they can expect? I mean, most of them already know, but in your mind, what will people kind of run into this year?
I think the number of different beers and the number of breweries as they've grown, it's just really astounding to me. There are so many, and there's such a variety that you almost have to. It's not a bad idea to have a kind of a game plan. I want to taste these types of beers or that types of beers. Not that you need one,
right.
But it can be a little overwhelming at times because there's just so much of it. I think we're going to have decent weather. I hope the rain holds off, but it shouldn't be too cold. And I think everybody's going to have a great time. So, wear your boots and your hat and your gloves and enjoy.
Stay warm, and we know where to find a good beer to keep us warm, right?
That's right.
All right, Scott, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate your time and giving of your time. And we'll see you Saturday.
Sounds great. I'll look forward to it.
All right, take care.
Cheers.